Hey everyone, welcome to Frontline Football. It's weird, I haven't done this in a while because I won predictions this week and the Jets won. So in honor of that, I'm going to take a celebratory sip out of my Jets water bottle for the first time in a while. That feels good. Got a lot of wins. I'd like to apologize to the Packers fans for ruining your first quarter of the Steelers game by going into overtime and kicking a field goal at the 1-yard line and beating the Titans and taking forever doing it. But other than that, roll the intro.
Welcome guys to Frontline Football. It's the best person in this whole entire room, Zach, because I'm the only undefeated team right now. Alright, so we all have wins at least. That's good. We're not the Jags. First matchup is the Rams versus Seahawks. I will hand it off to myself. And I got the Rams. The Rams are the best team other than the Cardinals in the NFC. I feel like the Rams and Cardinals will be fighting for that NFC West spot. And I feel like the first thing that they're going to have to do is sweep or split with the Seahawks. And I feel like they're going to get a win because they're going to be mad about the Cardinals beating them. So, I'm sorry, Seahawks fans, but you're going to get clapped by the Rams. Jack?
I'm also going to go Rams here. I understand they had a little bit of a hiccup against the Cardinals, or actually a pretty big hiccup. But I think ultimately the Seahawks defense is not nearly as good as the Cardinals defense. I think they'll be able to get back on track offensively. And I'm not really impressed with the Seahawks. Like, they almost imploded in the first quarter. Congratulations, you barely beat Trey Lance. Like, it's not really that impressive. And the Seahawks defense, like I said, significantly worse than the Cardinals defense. And I think Stafford's looking for that rebound game to try to keep up in the AFC West. Seahawks take a crucial loss here. Rams win. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I have the Rams winning this one. While they did have a little bit of a struggle against the Cardinals are looking really good this year. So, I'm not going to fault the Rams for every good team loses a game, especially Super Bowl teams. I mean, the only undefeated team was the Miami Dolphins, and that happened like 40 years ago. So, every team loses. It's just one loss. So, I'm going to have to give it to the Rams here because I think that they are more prepared for the season, especially with their roster.
Alright. Our next matchup is the New Orleans Saints versus Washington football team. I'm going to hand this one off to Josh.
Let's see. Who's playing again?
Saints
The
football
Chiefs.
team. Saints
Saints
football team.
That's literally what I said. Saints football team. If you
Yeah,
would have
Chiefs.
heard me correct. Okay. For the Saints football team, I have the football team winning this. Because, well, I think that the Saints will put up a good. I think that Washington with Heineke is going to have a really good game. Now, I don't believe their defense is going to do well because they've allowed 30 points per game this season, which is the third most in the NFL. So that defense I can't keep raving about. So, I think that the football won't be pretty.
Next. Alright, well, Jack, go next.
Okay. I'm going to go Saints here. I've come to the conclusion about who the Saints are. And I think they are an every other week team. 1 week, they're the best team in the world. 1 week, they lose to the Giants in overtime. And that's their personal identity at this point. And that's okay. And Washington, not impressed so far. That valiant defense, as Josh said, not looking good. Not looking good. I mean, they got torched by the Falcons. And the Falcons got some good stuff on offense, but I really expected the Washington to be able to pressure Matt Ryan a lot more, make his life miserable, and win that game a lot easier. Not Taylor Heineke having to play hero ball and the Falcons going back to their old ways of choking a game. But I think the Saints, they're going to get back on track. This is a week where they're going to win. The next week they're going to lose in embarrassing fashion. And the cycle is just going to keep continuing. They're one of the hardest teams to read at this point. They're either on top of the world or at the bottom of the bottom. But I'm taking Saints here. What are your thoughts, Zach?
At Saints, I think the Saints have a really solid team. Like Jack said, I think that they're going to be really mad about the loss that they took because they beat the Packers and they've lost to really bad teams, but they've also beaten really good teams. And I think that this is just one of the teams that's just going to stand in their way and they're going to beat. So, yeah, our next matchup, the Eagles, Panthers. Jack?
I'm going to go with the Panthers here. I'm expecting a bit of a bounce-back game. They had a little bit of trouble with Dallas, but weirdly enough, I'm going as far to say Dallas is a really good team now. And Trayvon Diggs is stepping up big defensively, filling in their biggest hole that I was super worried about. But I do expect the Panthers to take a bounce-back here. I think the Eagles will keep it competitive because I think they're going to be a competitive team. But ultimately, I expect a bounce-back game from Sam Darnold. He didn't do horrible, but I expect him to keep the ball, not turn the ball over, keep it nice and safe. Hopefully they get CMC back, and I expect that Panthers defense to be all over Jalen Hurts this week. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I gotta go with the Carolina Panthers here. I think that Cam Darnold and their new cornerback core that they just got will be too lethal for the Eagles to handle. While I do believe the Eagles will stay in the game, I think that Cam Darnold and CMC are going to be running circles around the Eagles. And yes, I'm calling Cam Darnold from now on because he is the leader in rushing yards in the NFL.
All right. I guess I'm last, so I'm going to go with Panthers. The Panthers have a really good team. Gilmore won't be playing. I know that they just traded for him for a 6th-round pick, but he will not be playing until week 7. He is still dealing with an injury that he has dealt with from last year. So they don't have their new corner. Now, also, they don't have J.C. Horn. I know he wasn't there for the Dallas game, but they still don't have him. So this cornerback core is really weak right now, and that's the reason they traded for Gilmore. But this Eagles team, the only good weapon is Devontae Smith, and you could say, who's the guy that they drafted over Justin Jefferson? It was
Jalen Reagor.
Jalen Reagor. You could say that he's a good wide receiver. He just has injury problems. I think that the Eagles will keep it close, and Jalen Hurts will have a really good game. It's just I think the Panthers just have a lot better of a team with Brian Burns on the defense, and yeah, this team is going to go far. Not in the playoffs, but it's going to go far in the regular season. So don't be shocked if they're one of the teams that actually make it, other than the onslaught of NFC West. So, all right, our next matchup is the Vikings-Lions. I'm gonna hand this one off to Jack.
I'm going to go Vikings here. The Vikings are a disappointment, just to be honest. They've done so much dumb stuff this season, and it's so early already, and they've lost so many close games because of dumb stuff. It's all just so disappointing, but luckily they've run into a bigger disappointing team in the Lions, and I think this is where the Vikings are going to try to start making up their wins because they lost all those dumb games early in the year. Now it's time that they're going to beat up on a team that's struggling and trying to rebuild, and then they're going to get a win, and they're going to have confidence in themselves again just for me to be let down when I pick them again against a better team next week. But ultimately, the Vikings are just, they're too good to be in this hole. They're going to try to dig themselves out of it. I think they will this week. I think Detroit will be more competitive than they were last week, but I still think ultimately the Vikings are going to come out on top. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I got Vikings. I'm just hoping that TJ Hawkinson has a good game. Now, the reason I say that, he's on one of my fantasy teams. I don't want to get into that, but still, it's just, if Hawkinson has a great game, we'll be fine. So, yeah, the Vikings. My actual reason why, it's not just because they're a lot better, it's because the Vikings have gone against the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and they went against the
The
Broncos?
Browns.
Okay, I was close. They've gone against three playoff teams, which should be playoff teams. Seahawks, maybe not playoff team, but all projected to be playoff teams, and they've kept it close with all of them and beat one of them, which was the Seahawks. Our Seahawks are just trash. But yeah, I think that the Vikings just have a better team than the Lions, so I think that the Vikings will get the dub here. I think also Dalvin Cook's going to be playing, so that's going to be even more fantasy points for my team. So let's go. All right, Josh.
Okay, I have for the Vikings Lions. I have the Vikings winning here because the Vikings have won 7 straight games against Detroit, and I think this is where they're going to start making up their wins. Well, I do believe the Lions haven't put up good fights against mediocre teams. Uh, I think that the Vikings will just win here because of how many close games they've been in that they've barely lost. So I think just by the strength of teams that they've been close with is better than the Lions. So I gotta go with the Vikings.
All right, our next matchup is the it's the best matchup on here. The Cardinals, Niners. I'll be taking this one. Cardinals. We're undefeated. We're gonna stay undefeated. They're starting Trey Lance this week. I'm not saying Trey Lance is a bad quarterback. It's just he's a rookie. Other than the Seahawks, Seahawks have a trash defense. And I know Seahawks fans are going to be all on me about, oh, we're going to make playoffs. Watch your team be last. Watch your team at least be third. It's not happening, though. We're going to get second at least in the division. So, I don't believe that Trey Lance will be really good, like, when he first comes out. Because he struggled against Seattle's defense. Good luck trying to stop stop Kyler Murray in their offense with your defense, which you already had a hard time with Russell Wilson. What are you going to do against Kyler Murray? So, I think the Niners are just not in the best place right now, and they're dealing with injuries, like Jason Verrett's out for the season, so that means they have more D-Hop yards. So, yeah, I just think Cardinals have just a better team, and they've been more lucky with injuries. Jack?
I have to go Cardinals here. I mean, they don't lose. They just haven't lost yet. Last week was their biggest challenge yet, and they passed with flying colors and blew the Rams' doors off. So you're telling me with this Rams light and the 49ers defensively that the Cardinals against a lesser opponent are going to lose? No way. They're going to be able to beat the 49ers here just like they did the Rams, and until they prove otherwise, I think they stand as the best team in football as of right now. Cardinals win. I think with Trey Lance starting, it's easily. With Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe it's a little harder, but ultimately I think the Cardinals are going to be sitting comfortably most of the game. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I gotta say Cardinals here. They are really contenders now, and I don't think that the 49ers, they're a past dynasty now because they can't have that lightning strike like they did in 2019, which they almost won the Super Bowl. I don't think that's ever happening again, and the Cardinals are the new kings of the division, so it's either them or the Rams. So I'm going to have to say Cardinals are going to win this game here.
All right. Our next matchup is the New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to hand this one off to Josh.
Sorry, I was muted there. Well, Daniel Jones was very underrated this week in his performance. Not many people know about it. I think that Dallas will be winning this game here because I think that Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, who is having a bounce back season this year, are going to be too much for the Giants' defense to handle. While I do believe that it will be within 2 scores, I don't think that the Giants will be winning this one, so I got to give it to the Dallas.
He muted again. Jack, you go.
Okay, Cowboys. I'm happy for the Giants. Good job on beating the Saints, I guess, but the Cowboys are a much better team, in my opinion, than the Saints at this point in time. Their defense has taken a step up. Their offense is elite. Dak hasn't missed a beat, and I don't think the Giants can handle that right now. Maybe they'll get better as the season goes on, and they did do a good job offensively last week, but the Cowboys are they're too good offensively. I don't think the Giants can realistically keep up with them here. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I think the Giants can keep up with the Cowboys, but I still got to give it to the Cowboys. The Cowboys have such a good team defensively now. Like, they're starting to get pressures with DeMarcus Lawrence, and that's helping them a lot because Trayvon Diggs is getting picks. He's gotten 5 picks this season already. That means that he's getting at least a pick a game. So I feel like he's going to pick off Daniel Jones this week. Is he a Giants win? Yeah, because literally the Giants have faced the Cowboys at home, and you remember what happened if you watched last year and you saw Giants Cowboys at home for the Cowboys last year. Let's just say Dak didn't do too well. So yeah, we've already had a gruesome leg injury. Let's not have another one. So, I still believe that the Giants could win, but I can't believe in them too much. I think Dallas has the win here. Alright, with our next matchup, it's hopefully Jack's favorite matchup of this week. It's the Jets versus the Falcons. In London, Jack.
Yes, we get a London game this week. Very exciting. I have to wake up very early to watch a football game, which is going to be weird. But this week I get to do something I never thought I'd get to do on this channel. And this is pick the Jets before December, which is weird. Never done that before. As you recall, last year I didn't pick the Jets a single time until the last week of the season against New England. But this year, they actually started out with a nice win against Tennessee. And this week, they have a very reasonable matchup. The reasons I have the Jets over the Falcons is the Falcons' pass protection has not been great, and the Jets' D-line has been really good. Specifically last week against another subpar pass-protecting team in the Tennessee Titans, the Jets got 7 sacks on the group as a whole, and a very impressive performance on the defensive side of the ball. Also, the Falcons' defense gives up a lot of points. This game could still go either way, because the Falcons still do have some offensive firepower, and if they can get the ball out quickly, they could take advantage of the Jets' younger linebackers and secondaries. But ultimately, I lean Jets. I think they'll be able to get a win in a medium-scoring game carried by the Jets' D-line and a little bit of Zach Wilson stuff sprinkled in. But I'm going Jets here. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I'm sorry, I gotta go with Falcons. Well, that win was great against the Titans. I think that the Falcons, especially going up against a rookie quarterback, I think Zach Wilson is going to show a couple more flaws. Because I know Atlanta's not as good, but even the record I've seen is quarterbacks who are rookies going to London are 0-4 is the statistic. So I'm going to go with what the statistic says and choose the Falcons to win here. Well, I do think that the Jets could beat them if it was in New York. I think that Atlanta with Cordell Patterson, who literally just went off this week, I think that they're going to have at least a good run game to help them. And their defense is going to make some stop down the stretch and have Zach Wilson force something or make a rookie mistake. So I think that the Falcons will... Zach?
Jets. I think the Jets are really good. Not like good enough to be playoffs, but they had a really good matchup against Tennessee where they won, surprisingly. So, ruined a lot of predictions for a lot of people, but that's fine. Jets, they've been looking up after that Titans game, and I think Zach Wilson's development is going pretty well. If they beat the Titans, probably going really well, and they get to face another bad defense. So I think the Jets, this will equal a win. Also, what Jack said about their O-line for the Atlanta Falcons, it's not too good, and they have a pure pocket passer in Matt Ryan. So it's not going to work out too well for Matt Ryan. Maybe they should have taken Justin Fields, which will be a quarterback we'll talk about soon. So, yeah. All right. Our next matchup is the Green Bay Packers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's see. All right. Yeah. Josh.
Dang it, I keep on forgetting to unmute. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals here because I think that Cincy is just going to have a good game and take advantage of the defense of the Packers. So give me Cincy here in an upset. Jack, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go Packers. Packers, mainly on the basis of the Packers, they finally they shook it off. Whatever the problem was, they shook it off. And I give credit to the Bengals. Good start so far. They've done a pretty good job, all things considered. An impressive start, but still, I think the Packers, they're looking for a little more. They're looking for a Super Bowl, and I think here they're going to try to make a statement, play a good team in Cincinnati. They've played good football. I think Cincinnati will be able to be competitive, but ultimately, I think the Packers will come away with the victory. What are your thoughts, Zach?
A few more times I'm going to be choosing with Jack. I got Packers again. Like him. I think the Packers have a really solid team. I don't like the Packers at all. I don't like their fans. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I don't like it. But I have to respect the team. The team is really solid. I don't like Devontae Adams. There. Alright. There are some pieces. I think Zadarius Smith might be back. He might. I don't know. But there's some really solid pieces. If Jari is playing, because he's dealing with some injuries right now. There's a lot of things that the Packers are doing well, and then there's a lot of things that they're not. And one of them is injuries, but they're going against the Bengals. I think their pass rush with Kenny Clark will be just fine against the Bengals, because the Bengals we've not really seen them against a real pass rush. Yeah, we haven't seen him against a real pass rush yet, and I want to see what Joe Burrow can do and that O-line can do against Kenny Clark. And, yeah, let's just see what they didn't even deal with TJ Watt, so they haven't dealt with anybody that's like a really good pass rusher. So, let's see what they can do. I can see a Bengals win, like Josh said, but I think the Packers have a slightly better chance. So, yeah. Alright, our next matchup is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Miami Dolphins. Alright. I'm going to hand this one off to Jack.
I'm going Bucks here. The Miami Dolphins, they've been disappointing, to say the least. They open up the season 1-3. Realistically, should be 0-4 if it wasn't for a little bit of New England running backs fumbling the ball in the field goal range to win the game. But this team, they've regressed pretty much on all standards. Now, I understand Tua's not been healthy, which is definitely not helpful. Jacoby Brissett as a starting QB is a little bit of a nightmare. It's not great. They lost to the Colts last week, and ultimately they're going in the home field of the defending Super Bowl champions. Their O-line is a little questionable, and the Bucs D-line is hungry. They're ready to get after it. After beating New England, they're ready to keep the momentum going and beat another AFC East team. I got the Bucs here, and I'm pretty confident in that one. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Bucks. They're the best team. They're the third best team in football. I think it goes. My top three is Bucks. Actually, no, it's Bills. But Bucks is a top 5 team. They have a top 5 defense. I don't think that Jacoby Brissett will do anything because he'll keep getting sacked by the Buccaneers defense. So yeah, I got Bucks. Josh, you're muted.
Mute after my take because I think I'm causing the reverb that we're getting. So
Yeah.
I got the Bucks here winning because as much as I think that Miami would be good, Tua was starting and this was last year's Dolphins. This isn't last year's Dolphins, and I gotta go with reality here, and I gotta say the Buccaneers are winning this game.
All right. Our next matchup is the Chicago Bears versus the Vegas Raiders. Jack.
I'm going Raiders here in a bounce back game. The Raiders, they lost to the Chargers. They tried to come back, try to squeak one out, but they could not get the job done. I think they're going to bounce back here. I think their defense has been weirdly alright, all things considered. It's the Raiders, but weirdly enough, they're still chaotic. They're 3-1. I think they'll be able to take advantage of a rookie quarterback. I think Justin Fields keeps the Bears in the game, but I think ultimately he makes a costly mistake at some point in the game, turning the tide, and I think the Raiders are going to win this game. Oh, wait, did you say your take, Zach, or no?
Oh, I haven't said it.
What's your
None of
take?
us actually. Right? I got the Bears. I think the Bears have a really solid team. I think Justin Fields will have one of these games where he's going to be really good. It's against the Raiders, so the Raiders are very inconsistent on how they play. They could beat the Chiefs like they did last year, and then they'll lose to like the Jets. Well, they could lose to the Jets. They almost did, but they didn't. But still, that's not good for my. That's not good for the Raiders. And I know this is a different Raiders team. They've only lost against the Chargers, but I don't care really about who they lost to. I just think that they're going to lose to the Bears because Justin Fields has another week in the system. I think that Nagy's actually going to understand how to scheme for him because it's not like Andy Dalton's going out, so they have time to scheme for Justin Fields' play and not get him sacked 9 times because of long developing plays. So, yeah. Josh?
I gotta go with the Las Vegas Raiders here because I think that they are really the better team, and I think Fields is gonna struggle and make some kind of rookie mistake that will end up him losing the game. So, Las
Josh just finished up with his take, so I'm going to go on to the next team. It's going to be Tennessee versus Jacksonville. Josh?
I have the Tennessee Titans. They're going to get a bounce back win. They want revenge after losing to the Jets, and who better to get it against than the 0-4 Jacksonville Jaguars? There's no better team to get it against. So, I'm going to choose the Tennessee Titans getting the win here.
It again. Alright, Jack, I can't hear him, so just go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to go Titans here. Now, normally, this is a place where I'd like to do a Jags upset because, like, oh, they had a long weekend on Thursday night and they could have used that time wisely and game plan better. But it's very clear Urban Meyer did not use his long weekend to game plan. He was doing some extracurricular activities that were not very good. So I have to go with the Titans here. Just give them a sliver. Just give him A.J. Brown or Julio Jones. Just give them one. They don't even need both. They just need one. I think the main reason for the loss to the Jets last week was the Jets' immense pressure. So the Titans' O-line is definitely going to have to get their act together. You can't let up 7 sacks and have no starting receivers. That's not a good recipe to win games. But ultimately, you have Derrick Henry. I think the Jags' D-line is not as good as the Jets. Not on their level quite yet. They got some nice pieces, but I don't think they're going to be able to get 7 sacks. I think they clean up their act, and we know how Derrick Henry loves to bash in the Jaguars' heads. So I'm going to go with the Titans here. What are your thoughts, Zach?
And I think Derrick Henry's going to have, like, crazy stats. He usually has crazy stats when he goes to Jacksonville. So I think that prediction, 300 yards. Rushing yards. Oh, yeah. He'll be the whole offense if Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are not there. I even believe if Julio's back, it's not even going to be that pretty. So, A.J. Brown's back, that's a different story. Because I like A.J. Brown a lot better than Julio. So, hopefully, one of their wide receivers is back. I don't really care anymore. I already beat them. So, yeah. Titans. So, our next team is the... Ooh, this is going to be a good matchup. The Denver Broncos versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to hand this one off to Jack.
I'm going to go with the Broncos here. Now, for years and years and years, I've just been waiting because, like, the Steelers, their O-line regresses every year. Every year, they get a little worse, and every year, Big Ben gets a little older. But every year, they seem to define that expectation and somehow figure out how to scrap together a good O-line, and Big Ben figures it out. But I think this is finally the year that they ran out of luck. The clock struck midnight, and they could no longer escape the crappy O-line and Big Ben's significant regression. Other than a weird win against the Bills, to say the least, brought on by a strong defensive performance, they haven't done anything this year. TJ Watt's injured. He's a little banged up, so even if he plays, you're not getting him at 100%, along with Devin Bush. And I think ultimately the Broncos' defensive front versus the disaster that's been whatever the heck the Steelers are trying to do on offense, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater could hand the ball off to Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams 100 times that game and figure it out, because I think the Steelers' offense is just, it's not going to be good. I think the Broncos' defense is going to handle business, and Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater is going to do just enough to squeak by and beat the Steelers here. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Easy. Broncos. I think the Broncos, if they start Teddy Bridgewater, they'll be fine. If they start Drew Lock, like Jack said, they'll be fine. Clearly, the Steelers are going to just screw it up. They're going to outcoach themselves. They don't even need a coach there to beat the Steelers, in my opinion. I know we're talking all this crap about the Steelers, but it's true. They lost to the Bengals. The Bengals are right now on top of their division. And you can't say that the Bengals are good. They've only faced, if you count the Steelers as a good opponent, they've only technically faced one good opponent. I believe that they've faced one good opponent, and that is the Vikings, but that's different. So, yeah, I think that Steelers are going to lose another game because Tomlin's going to overlook his competition. The Broncos are 4-1, 3-1, I think. So, yeah, I think Tomlin's going to overlook his competition, and he's going to lose this game. And Big Ben's going to throw like 2 picks. Josh?
Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I'm going with the Steelers. I think that they're going to win, and it's all going to be on the back of Najee Harris. He is going to win them this game. I think that it's going to be close, but Teddy Bridgewater, the Broncos will not win this game. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. Our next matchup is the Houston Texans versus the New England Patriots. Josh?
I'm going to say it, and I know that some people may not believe it. And Tyrod Taylor isn't going to be back this week. I think he'll probably be back next week because I haven't heard anything. But he may be back this week, so at me on that if he is. But I have the Texans winning this week. I know it seems crazy because they just blown out 40-0, but they're going to want revenge. They have been keeping it close with almost every other team that they play. The Browns, they kept it close with. The Panthers, they kept it close with. The only team that got away from them was the Bills, and I'm not even blaming them for that. That was Josh Allen that they had to face. So, yeah, it's going to be a little play against him. So,
Dean yet again. I don't know if he is. Alright. Well, I don't know if he's done with his take. Think he's done?
I think Josh finished.
Cool. Yeah, whenever it either stops it, you just go ahead and go. Alright.
Okay.
I
Patriots.
can hear you.
Texans.
Heck, that was weird.
I'm going to go Patriots. I don't know about Tyrod's situation. I don't know when he's going to be back. If it's not this week, then it's a lock to be Patriots because Bill Belichick, rookie quarterbacks, that take is just going to continuously come up until Bill Belichick is retired or rookie quarterbacks figure out how to beat him. But if Tyrod is back, I think they can keep it a little more competitive. But New England's defense showed out. Impressive season for New England. Or not necessarily season, but impressive game. They were able to slow down Tom Brady a little bit. They only got 18 or 17 points put up on him. And I think ultimately that New England's defense is going to roar in here, and they're going to win the game. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Just looked it up. He's out. Not for the season. He's just out for 4 weeks. It's only been 2 after his injury. So, Tyrod is not playing. Patriots. Because Tyrod, he still is a good quarterback. And if he was healthy, I could see a Texans win. It's just, I can't see a win with, because Davis Mills is going to be as bad as Mac Jones. It's literally going to just be a defensive battle, and I feel like the Patriots defense has a better defense than the Texans, so I have to give it to the Patriots. All right. Nope, not last. Dang, this is such a good matchup. One of the best matchups this week is the Cleveland Browns versus the LA Chargers. Go ahead.
Okay, I have the LA Chargers winning this one because Herbert is 7-1 in his last starts. So give me the Chargers here. I think that, especially with their performance that they put up against the Las Vegas Raiders, I think that they should win this game. So give me the Los Angeles Chargers. Zach?
I'm going to go with the Chargers also. Number one, the Chargers are really good this year. They have Mike Williams. They got a really good defense with Joey Bosa. They got a really competent quarterback and Justin Herbert. Maybe an MVP one day, but not this year. That's locked for Kyler. Yeah, I just think that Herbert and this offense is going to do better than the Browns. Now, can I say a Browns win? Of course. The Browns are a really good team. They can always find a win somehow. But this matchup's going to have a lot of fireworks. And you better get ready because this matchup's going to be as good as the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens, Colts, which are our next 2 matchups after Jack's take.
I will go Chargers here. Now, Chargers have really impressed me so far. I've been very happy with the performances of Herbert, Keenan, Mike Williams, Eckler, and a sprinkle of Jared Cook here and there. They've been very nice on offense, and they got a nice, massive win against KC, big win against the Raiders. Very good start to them, and the reason I think it could go either way pretty easily because the Browns are still the Browns. They're very good. But the Browns, they didn't really impress in Minnesota. They got shut down by a strong Minnesota. Pass pressure, Baker Mayfield was pretty much turned into a pumpkin for most of the game. They did just enough to scrape by a win in Minnesota. And similar to Minnesota, I think the Chargers got a really nice defense. And I think that the Browns are in a bit of an offensive slump that they're going to have to find their way out of. But I don't think they find their way out of it this week. I think it gets better, but it's not enough to beat the Chargers here.
All right. Our second to last matchup is the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Jack?
I'm going to go with, I guess, the upset now. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I understand. The Chiefs got in a weird slump against the Ravens and the Chargers, and they sort of figured it out against Philly. They weren't, like, overly impressive, but I just got a feeling with them. I have a feeling they need to get back on track with the rise of the Chargers. I think there's a sort of urgency to the Chiefs game that the Bills may not have because, you know, their lead in the division is a little cushiony right now with Miami, New York, and New England. No one's really posed a threat so far. I think the Chiefs, they're going to win with their back sort of against the wall, and they're going to try to keep up with the Chargers here. I'm going to take the Chiefs in weirdly enough, an upset. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I gotta go with the Bills. Josh Allen is on a revenge tour right now. He lost against the Steelers, and now he is going to beat almost every other team in this schedule. He is probably an MVP candidate right now. And if he is not the number one in MVP voting right now, the people are wrong. Because the stats that he has been putting up in these last 3 games have been better than any other quarterback. Just look at the score lines for his last couple games, and you'll see why he is an MVP candidate. And probably either number 1 or number 2 in that MVP race. So give me the Bills here. They're going to keep up their dominance against the Chiefs.
I got Bills. I think that they have a really good team. Josh Allen's second for MVP voting. The real MVP is Kyler Murray. And that's not even me being biased. It's just Kyler's been playing on such an elite level that, yeah, Allen is going to keep up, but some quarterbacks. I'm not going to keep up with those two great quarterbacks this year. So, I got the Bills. I think the Bills have a really good team, and they're going to just beat the Chiefs. This is a revenge game. Literally, the Chiefs beat them in conference. They destroyed them. Now, it's going to be different. The Bills are going to beat them. Alright, our final matchup of today is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Indianapolis Colts. Josh?
Give me the Baltimore Ravens here. The Colts are really struggling to find out who they are. And I think that the Ravens are just going to prance over them, especially in Monday Night Football. I don't even think it's going to be close unless they play down to their opponent, which they like to do. So give me the Baltimore Ravens here. Zach?
Ravens. They're my second favorite team in the league. Other than the Cardinals, I'm not even being biased here. I really like this Ravens team. I know that they don't have J.K. Dobbins, I know that, but they're still going to get a win. I feel like what Josh said about Colts having an identity crisis, they're trying to figure it out. They've been trying to figure it out since Andrew Luck left, and they still have not figured it out. So, I feel like the Ravens will get the win because they actually know what they are, other than the Colts. Not other than the Colts. Unlike the Colts. Jack?
Ravens. Easily. For the most part. Colts are still in the identity crisis. They beat Miami, who seems like a bad team this year. And I think the Ravens, they've found something. They've found a natural groove to their game that's working so far, and they've beaten pretty much everyone in their path, with the exception of a minor hiccup here and there. But overall, Ravens, really good. Even through injuries, they're just forcing their way through. They're finding ways to win games. After the Raiders game, something changed in them, and they haven't lost since. So give me the Ravens.
Alright, well, that does it for our video today. If you liked it, what should they do, Josh?
If you liked it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to do that. And if you have enough time, hit the like button too, because that really helps our channel too. And if you like it, just keep on coming back to watch. We always like having all these viewers to hear about all the stuff happening in the NFL. So I've been Josh from Frontline Football. Jack, hit the plugs.
As always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FrontlineFB. Right there. There we go. And link will be in the description if you don't want to do that. We hope you enjoyed. Great week this week. I think there's a lot of good matchups. Like, I'm going to have trouble figuring out what to tune into. Exciting week of football. We're in the thick of it now. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Bye.